morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we've got some extra information, some extra context about Shiny Treasures EX, and this is a set that I am getting very, very excited about. This set looks awesome. The other day when I showed it to you, I mean, look, you know the deal by now. I am on it. That trailer was shown off in Japan, and like 2 minutes after that trailer ended, I was recording and editing. And then shortly after I got my video online, then we had a bunch of extra information. We know some more stuff now. Well, what do you want from me, ladies and gentlemen? I've only got so much, I can't just keep waiting. At some point, I need to make the video, so I made the video. But since the video came out, we've had more information. That's where I am now. And yeah, there's a Fuecoco on screen right now. We can actually see what the shiny Fuecoco looks like up close. We got a decent scan of it. It looks amazing. This is a set as a whole that is very exciting. But before we get into all of that, I just want to talk about the criticism some people have towards the set and how that criticism is entirely valid. Because, of course, these special sets like we've got here, they change around a little bit, don't they? If you look at the last set that we had, for instance, the last special set, that was V-Star Universe. For those of you that are unaware, basically at the end of every year, Japan does one of these. So there'll be a 4A, 8A, and 12A. So V-Star Universe was Sword and Shield 12A. It was essentially the last set. It came out after set 12 of Sword and Shield in Japan. 4 sets per year, that's the end of year 3 years per block. Whereas this is Scarlet and Violet 4A, it is coming out after set 4 of Scarlet and Violet, which is of course the end of year 1. And you'll notice V-Star Universe, we're going to use some English scans because that's a little bit easier. V-Star Universe basically came out over here as Crown Zenith. We basically just got the set transposed almost entirely as Crown Zenith. And what happened with Crown Zenith? Well, a whole bunch of cool stuff. Like, obviously, we had the gold cards, like your Giratina and your Arceus. They were quite cool. And we had, your supporters think things like, some really good ones there. Raihan was pretty cool. Cynthia was awesome. Let's not forget about Irida. There were a bunch of others. That'll do for now. But if you look at the real highlight cards, we were talking about illustration rares and special illustration rares. Take a look at the Mewtwo. Take a look at the Lumineon, for instance. Take a look at the Okacheke Hooper. These are amazing. And then even the single prize Pokemon, you had your illustration rares. Take a look at something like, and you'll have to forgive the old school yellow borders. This is before we turned around. But look at like the Amelakart Bibarel, for instance. Look at the Latias, which is absolutely stunning. Look at the Ditto, which looks like a Numel, but is actually a Ditto. That was the kind of stuff we got in V-Star Universe, and we're not going to dig into it now, but it was a similar kind of thing with character rares and character super rares in VMAX Climax, which was Sword and Shield 8A, which came at the end of year 2 of Sword and Shield. Again, they're always 4, 8, and 12. They come at the end, or it's actually Sword and Shield 8B, I should say, just to be clear. But they always come at the end of a year over in Japan. This is going for shiny cards. They're not using these amazing illustration rares or character super rares or any of that. They are going for shiny Pokemon. And I showed you the other day the Charizard next to the Charizard from our Obsidian Flames, Japan's ruler of the Black Flame. And it is just the card shinified. They just take the existing card, and by the existing card, I mean literally the artwork of the card. They turn it all shiny and they're like, boom, have it. And I know that for everybody, this isn't perfect. I know some people don't love this, and that's okay, ladies and gentlemen. That's okay. If we take a look at the Fuecoco, for instance, it's one that I am a gigantic fan of. You will notice that the artwork here, they haven't even used quite the same artwork. They've gone and shinified it, but they've used a different print of it. It's not exactly the same. But it's still it's just a simple picture of the Pokemon as a shiny with kind of stars and not much more of a background. Take a look at Sprigatito and Quaxley side by side with the Fuecoco. Incidentally, we didn't have great scans of these the other day. We now do, and that's lovely. It makes me very happy indeed. Nice, big, clear scans. Absolutely love them. But the point is, if you look at these cards, they are Well, they're very different. They are exactly the same, essentially, as we got in Shining Fates, as I told you before. And that means we should be using Shining Fates as our, I suppose, template for the set. This is basically just going to be Shining Fates Mark II, or the English version when it comes out, which seems to be January. They're the listings we've got. It's basically going to be like that. You know, have a look at the Charizard next to the Charizard, for instance. It's the same card, but they've gone and made it shiny. That's what they do with these sets. And I know that and I've already seen a bunch of the comments, there are a bunch of people out there who are basically saying, what's happened to all these illustration rares, the character super rares, the things we've seen in the past, the amazing new artworks, these shiny ones aren't as good. Well, it's all personal preference. Like, if you ask me personally, yes, I prefer what we saw in V-Star Universe and VMAX Climax than what we've got in Shiny Treasures EX. I think this is a step back for me personally, because I prefer the awesome artwork. But Pokemon cards, as weird as it might sound, are not just marketed for me. There are other Pokemon fans out there that aren't me. And some of them like shiny cards. You know who really like these shiny cards? Kids. These look fancy and impressive and shiny to kids in a way that some of the artwork rares don't. They look more impressive to kids who want to pull something cool from their booster pack. So the message from me is really simple. Yes, I understand there are probably a bunch of people watching this video going, yeah, the art stuff we've been getting for the past couple of special sets, way better than what we're getting here. And that is absolutely a fair point to make. But I also need to point out that there are a bunch of Pokemon fans out there for whom this is going to be a welcome return to form. And like I say, especially kids out there tend to really, really like these big, fancy, shiny, impressive cards. Now, we do have a nice clear look at the fully evolved first partner Pokemon, your Skeledirge, your Meowscarada, and your Quaquavel. We saw them the other day, but we didn't get really good, nice, clear scans. We have them now, and that's awesome. Again, these sets aren't for everybody, but remember, all these cards are reprints. If you wish to ignore them entirely, you absolutely can. You'll lose nothing. Oh, they also revealed the stage 1s as well as shiny Pokemon. We got nice clear scans of these. I think they were like peepable in the collage last time, but that ain't the same, ladies and gentlemen. So we've seen these kind of 10 shiny cards, the 3 from each of the evolution lines of the first partner Pokemon plus the Charizard. That's what we've seen so far. There will be a whole bunch of others. Somebody did point out to me something quite important. I said that cards like Chen Pao and Ting Lu are likely to be getting shiny versions in the set. It was pointed out to me that these are shiny locked in the game, which is to say not available as shinies when you play the game. And we saw this with previous shiny sets where, yes, we did eventually get Zacian and Zamazenta as shiny Pokemon, but we did not get them in Shiny Star V, for instance. We had to wait until a special box that came out later down the line. So, although, you know, Pokemon like Chen Pao are good candidates to get shinies, we did see that the Pokemon that was shiny locked in Sword and Shield didn't end up initially getting shiny Pokemon in Shiny Star V. We did get the shinies, but they came along later. There's a very good chance they actually do that again. I should have mentioned this in my previous video. I apologize for not doing so. For what it's worth, I've not seen many people mention this at all, but somebody did bring it up to me on YouTube, and I think that is awesome, and I really, really appreciate it. So anytime you guys give me these helpful comments, etc., it is all very much appreciated. You guys are awesome for, you know, letting me know this stuff. Thank you very much. It's worth noting that we do have a nice clear look at Clive now as well. This is something that we didn't have previously. Don't know who Clive actually is, but apparently a pretty big deal. It's that new supporter card where you look at your opponent's hand and then you draw 2 cards for each supporter card they have in hand. Maybe that gets you a bunch of cards, you never know, but you know, if they've got 2 in hand, it's a draw 4, and Pokemon do not make straight draw 4 supporters, but I do suspect that it is going to end up being disappointing more often than not. Now, it is worth noting that this is going to be a reprint set. So they confirm that Chen Pao and Ting Lu are going to be in the set. it is potentially relevant that they did not show off the shiny Pokemon at the same time. For Charizard, they did. They were like, hey, Charizard's getting a reprint. Oh, and by the way, it's getting a shiny. They didn't show off the shiny versions of these. I think that's relevant. For what it's worth, Mew EX from Pokemon 151 is getting a reprint, but that also was not confirmed to have a shiny. And then the Miraidon and Koraidon alternate arts, remember these were our tin promos, they also were shown off without a shiny. And this is really relevant. On the official website, they have basically, all the Pokemon they have shown off for shinies, there is a little button where you can flick between the regular card and the shiny. For Koraidon and Miraidon, there isn't. But then again, why would they make a shiny version of these alternate art reprints? That doesn't make any sense. So you wouldn't expect it. But Chenpao, Tinglu, and Mew were all shown off on the website. Nice, clear scans, officially announced they're being reprinted, but did not show off the shinies. That doesn't mean they aren't getting a shiny print, let's be clear. But I do think it makes it much less likely that they are going to be getting one. There we go. They did also confirm a bunch of reprints we didn't see the other day. So Super Rod is coming back. Ultra Ball is coming back. Rare Candy is getting a reprint. Professor Sardo and Professor Turo are both getting reprints. And we also see Penny and Arven. They were the reprints that have since been confirmed that were not shown off nice and clearly the other day. They might have been in the collage, but they weren't shown off nice and clearly. They have now gone and been confirmed. But the other thing we need to mention is the numbering here. Because Charizard EX, the shiny Charizard EX, is number 331 out of 190. It is the 41st secret rare in the set. Now, to be fair, they remember going typing order nowadays, so Charizard is the latest one that we've seen, but there probably will be a couple later that are coming along. They generally go small Pokemon, non-EXs, then EXs, but then they go into supporters as well. So we've got confirmation of at least 141 secret rares, but don't be naive here, ladies and gentlemen. There are going to be well over 150. There is going to be a ridiculous amount of secret rares here. Minimum, I would think, 150. Quite possibly a fair bit more than that. That is a very, very relevant thing. It's something which we couldn't see perfectly the other day. Now we got nice clear scans. We can see Charizard's number 331. So that's minimum 141 secret rares, plus all of the EXs that would normally come later than Charizard, plus all your supporters, etc. It's going to be a fair bit more than 150, ladies and gentlemen. We don't have an official number yet, but it's going to be big. So, I don't know. Enjoy, I suppose. Enjoy the challenge. Yeah. It is worth noting, V-Star Universe was initially very hard to get hold of in Japan. But then they just kept reprinting, and it got to the point where V-Star Universe was not that difficult to get hold of, not compared to how it had been. I do think that is relevant and something to bear in mind. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's all the updates we've got for now. That's what you need to know, and now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about all of this. Tell me how excited you are for this set. Tell me if you prefer this or the other. Tell me anything you want to tell me in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi. That's where we talk Pokemon and card games and Pokemon card games, all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. And get shout outs on the channel like the lovely William Shaw, who's been a supporter of ours for a long time now and is a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.